Dear soul, today something very special will touch your heart. It won't just be a reading. It will be like opening a forgotten door within you, a door that leads directly to the presence of someone who has never truly left. There is a familiar spirit trying to communicate with you, and this attempt has been constant. You may have even ignored certain signs, thinking they were just coincidences. But what I'm about to reveal to you could change everything. How many times have you felt that slight chill, as if someone had passed by you, but there was no one in the room, or noticed that an object had been moved without explanation? Maybe you've heard your name whispered when there was no voice around. These small, often subtle phenomena are ways a close spirit has been trying to reach you. This is not a stranger. It is someone you loved, and who loved you deeply. This presence has left its mark. These are not ghosts like in the movies. They are gentle touches on the heart. They are memories that surface out of nowhere with an almost supernatural clarity. The image of a face, the sound of an old laugh, the scent that isn't anywhere, yet envelops you for seconds as if it were real. And it is real. Because true bonds, even after departure, remain strong. And now this spirit is calling you. Have you noticed that certain coincidences in your life are not mere coincidences? Perhaps you've been dreaming repeatedly about someone from the past. Maybe you've become more sensitive, more emotional, crying over small things and feeling a nameless longing. This happens because this spirit is getting closer, and this is not to scare you, but to protect you, to strengthen you, and above all, to remind you that you are never alone. Often, we ignore these signs because we are too busy trying to move forward. But today, the angels ask you to pause for a moment, take a deep breath, and allow yourself to feel. This loving energy approaching you has an important message, a message that can ease an old pain, heal a void, bring answers that were lost in time. They want you to know you are ready to listen. Before continuing the message, write this mantra in the comments. Today, I open myself to the loving presence that walks with me. I feel, I welcome, I trust. Now, continuing the message, there is something this spirit wants you to remember. You did not fail. In life, you did everything you could with the love you had. Many of the silent guilts you carry are unjust. He or she knows this. They know of your efforts, of your tears hidden in the pillow, of the strength you had to keep going, even when your heart wanted to stop. And that is why this presence insists on communicating. To say, you were enough. You were love. That is why the connection has intensified in recent days. Something in you has changed. It may have been a prayer, a rescued memory, or even a new pain that rekindled an old one. What matters is that this emotional opening created a channel, and this channel is being used now. This spirit is not here to cause fear or pain. They are here to help you close a cycle with peace. There was a specific moment when you felt, without knowing why, that you should look at the sky, and when you did, your heart tightened. Maybe it was at sunset, a butterfly that landed unexpectedly, or a bird that sang near your window. These are manifestations of the loving presence surrounding you. This soul that loves you has not truly gone. It has only changed form, and now makes itself present in small details, details that only you are able to perceive. You may be wondering, but why now? Why has this presence returned so strongly? Because there is something in your current life that needs spiritual strength, an important decision, a change, a recent loss, or even a feeling of loneliness that no one knows about. This spirit has come to support you in this moment. It sees what no one else sees. It knows what you feel when you close your eyes and try not to cry. And its mission now is to remind you of your strength and your light. If you allow yourself, you will begin to feel this energy more clearly. You will notice that certain moments of silence are full of presence, that there is a warmth that suddenly arises, as if invisible arms were wrapping around you. This is not imagination, this is pure love, transcending the limits of time and space. But that's not all. There is something even deeper happening. Prepare yourself, for in the next sections you will understand how to clearly recognize this presence, what it wishes to communicate, and how this connection can completely transform the way you view life and love. And most importantly, how to release the pain that still weighs on your chest to live with more peace. The angels are by your side at this very moment, sitting in silence, tenderly watching your soul open. They whisper that true love does not end in absence. It transforms into a silent and constant presence. You are being guided, and this familiar spirit is smiling now, because you have finally begun to listen. Sometimes, what cannot be seen is exactly what is felt the most. It's like the wind that shakes the curtains without asking, like that sudden shiver on your arm, even when you're in a warm place. And it is at this exact point of reality, between what is visible and what is felt, that lies the most sincere attempt at communication a familiar spirit can make. Yes, someone from the other side is trying to speak to you. And believe me, you are beginning to hear. Perhaps this presence has already visited you in dreams, leaving confusing messages that seemed meaningless. Or maybe you have heard the name of this person in random conversations, seen dates linked to them repeating, or even numbers that seem to follow you. None of this is by chance. The spiritual realm has its own way of touching our reality, and when a spirit that loves you decides to speak, it does so with delicacy, but with insistence, until you listen. Now, before we continue this message, write in the comments. 7. I accept the presence of light that visits me, and I call for protection and truth. And if this message is touching your heart, dear soul, receive this request with care. If you can, click Valeur de Mai and contribute to this work. This loving help allows messages like this to continue being spread to other people who, like you, also need comfort and hope. And subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next revelations that the angels are preparing. Now, with a calm heart, let's continue. Have you noticed how, on certain days, a nameless longing appears out of nowhere? As if your chest were pierced by a memory you didn't even know you had. These are touches of the spiritual presence that accompanies you. They are like silent waves from someone who knows your soul, your gestures, your way of breathing, someone who has walked with you in this life and even after departing has never left your side. This person, this familiar spirit, has a reason for wanting to speak now. There is something in your current life that is directly affecting them. A choice you need to make, a pain that has not yet healed, or a feeling that has been kept for too long, and they want to help you. They want to lighten this burden that you carry alone, to show you that it is not weakness to ask for support. On the contrary, it is in this moment that you most connect with the strength of the spiritual world. The message coming from the other side is clear. You don't have to carry everything alone. I am here. I am still here. Many do not understand this. They think that after goodbye everything fades away, but the angels show us a deeper truth. The bonds of love do not end with death. They simply change form. If there were once hugs, now there are signs. If there were once words, now there are intuitions. And if there was once physical presence, now there is presence of the soul. And this presence is even stronger, wiser, more protective. You might be wondering, but why is this person coming now, just now? Because something in you has changed. Maybe you said a different prayer, maybe you went through a moment of deep pain, maybe you thought of them so intensely that you created a bridge of light. Familiar spirits are like silent guardians. They sense when you need them, even without you asking. And when they realize your heart is ready, they come closer with love and truth. A woman once told me that after losing her sister, she went years without feeling anything, until one day, while organizing a drawer, she found a letter she had never read. The handwriting was her sister's, and in that instant she felt as if her sister was sitting beside her. It was as if she had returned to finish what she couldn't say in life, she told me, and indeed she had, because where there is unresolved love, there is always a chance for healing. Dear soul, this spirit wants your attention not to bind you to the past, but to free what was trapped there. Maybe unsaid words, unforgiveness, unfulfilled promises. And that's why spiritual communication becomes more intense now. It's an invitation to healing, a call for you to make space, not for sadness, but for truth. Many people are frightened when they feel spiritual presences. They think they are ghosts, but the truth is that love does not haunt, love caresses, and what you are feeling is love. Pure love, love that has returned in the form of protection, love that visits you in the silences, in the memories, in the coincidences that stir your heart. Whatever pain you carry today, do not keep it to yourself. Talk to this presence, even if only in thought. Say what you didn't say, ask what you didn't ask, thank for what was left unsaid, because this invisible dialogue is more powerful than any words spoken aloud. There is peace available to you, but it only comes when truth is faced head-on. In the next sections, you will understand how to keep this connection alive in a safe and loving way. You will discover the means by which the spirit accompanying you chooses to communicate and what they deeply want you to understand now. Because there is a specific message being sent, and you need to hear it. And before closing this section, the angels ask me to tell you, the angels are sending you a special sign. Your lucky number for today is 7. Write in the comments, I receive the energy of the angels. My lucky number is 7 and I am blessed. I send love and protection to the person I like and love very much. If this message touched your heart, show your support with a thanks a lot and help spread this message of light to other people who also need it. There was a moment in the last few days when something inside you stopped. It wasn't a remarkable event. It was something small but powerful. Maybe it was seeing an old photograph. Maybe during a deep silence between one sigh and another, while washing the dishes or looking at the sky. Suddenly, the atmosphere changed. The air seemed denser. Your heart beat differently. A tear appeared without you understanding why. And in that instant, something touched you. It is in this kind of moment that familiar spirits make their presence known, not with scary noises or mystical visions, but with feelings, because it is in the emotional field that they find the gap to communicate. When you are with an open heart, vulnerable, true, that is when the presence manifests. And if you have come this far, it is because this presence is closer than ever. You may feel like you are reliving old emotions. Certain pains, once dormant, are now awakening, but this isn't meant to hurt you, it's meant to set you free. This spirit that accompanies you is guiding you from within, encouraging you to touch the parts of yourself that still need comfort. And this includes memories, repressed emotions, and most importantly, forgiveness not given and not received. Before continuing the message, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, take a moment to do so. It helps us keep creating meaningful content for you. Now, continuing the message, you know something is different, and this can be unsettling. It can cause fear. It might even make you doubt yourself. But don't doubt, feel, because this spirit with you knows you like no one else. It knows your weaknesses, your secrets, your gestures. It has seen you grow, change, survive, and now it wants just one thing, to help you live in peace. A lady once told me that she smelled cornmeal cake every Sunday at 3 in the afternoon, even though she lived alone and had never baked that cake herself. It was the scent of her grandmother, who always made that exact cake at that time. When she realized this wasn't her imagination, but a sign that her grandmother was trying to speak to her, she felt an inexplicable relief. It was like receiving a warm hug with no one there, she told me. Dear soul, sometimes the signs are as simple as that. A scent, a song that plays repeatedly, a name that appears in the most unlikely places, an object that falls on its own, and most importantly, a sudden emotion that arises out of nowhere. When you feel a longing that cuts through your chest as if someone had just left, even though many years have passed, know this: it's the spirit saying, I am here. This connection is not a haunting, it's a reunion between souls that still have something to say to each other. The spirit visiting you brings a very clear message. You need to know that I left in peace, and that I forgive you. These words might stir something unexpected in you, because deep down you carry guilt, even if it's small, even if it's hidden. Some word you didn't say, some action you didn't have time to take, some goodbye that never happened. But this spirit wants to free you from that weight. It saw what you did. It felt the love you tried to express in your own way, and now it returns, not to demand anything, but to ease your burden. Breathe, my dear, this is important. At this moment, what surrounds you is more than air. It's presence, it's energy, it's care. And for this presence to continue manifesting with safety, serenity, and love, the angels ask that you accept what has not yet been said, that you make space for the conversation that never happened. You can do this now in thought or even by writing a letter. Speak to this presence. Say everything. It is listening. And if you're wondering, how can I know it's really them? The answer is simple. You feel it. The heart recognizes, the skin tingles, the body responds, and even without understanding, you know, because when the spirit is familiar, there is no doubt that there is recognition. What this spirit most desires at this moment is for you to forgive yourself, to stop carrying the bitterness of the past, to not confuse silence with absence, to understand that even after the goodbye, love never died. It simply changed form. This presence wants you to remember who you were before the pain, before the loss, before the goodbye. It wants to remind you of the lightness you had, the sparkle in your eyes, the simple joy that everyday life carried. Because now, more than ever, it's time for you to return to yourself. And when you do this, when you reconnect with yourself, this spirit can finally rest in peace, knowing that the mission of guiding and protecting you has been fulfilled with love. Sometimes absence weighs more than any words spoken. And when time passes and the physical presence is no longer with us, it seems that some conversations get stuck in space. Words we couldn't say, apologies that got stuck in our throats, hugs that never happened. All of this forms an invisible field of pain, a pain that the spirit visiting you today doesn't want you to carry anymore. Yes, this spirit wants you to free yourself and be free. There is something that needs to be said, something that needs to be felt with an open heart, and that something has a name: forgiveness. Perhaps you still hold grudges from what was lived, or maybe you feel guilty for not having acted differently. Either way, the angels reveal the time has come to let go of this weight, and you don't have to do it alone. The family spirit that is by your side at this very moment wants to walk with you in this process. They also desire this relief. This healing is for both of you. You know that feeling that always appears when you think of this person, that tightness that insists on appearing. That's exactly where forgiveness lives, because true forgiveness doesn't need explanations or justifications. It just needs willingness, the willingness to look at the pain with tenderness and say with your soul, I forgive you, and I forgive myself. Now, dear soul, let's do something very special. Write in the comments a list of people, including yourself, that you would like to forgive. Visualize each one of them, send love, and say, I forgive you and set you free. May peace be with you. Feel the lightness and freedom that forgiveness brings. Repeat this practice every day to strengthen your inner peace and release anxiety. I remember a woman who carried the pain of her father who had passed away. They had argued before his death, and she never had the chance to apologize. For years, she carried this guilt in silence, until one day, during a prayer, she felt a strong warmth in her chest and a soft voice, not external but internal, saying, "I always knew you loved me, and I forgive you." She burst into tears, and at that moment a part of her that was frozen came back to life. The forgiveness you seek is also there. It doesn't depend on logic or perfect words. It just needs you to accept what was and choose to walk lighter from now on. And this spirit is here to give you strength. Often we hold on to negative feelings because we believe we are protecting our pain. But in reality, we are only feeding invisible chains that bind us to the past. The spirit that accompanies you knows this, and that's why they insist on getting closer now. They see how much you need to free yourself to live without this weight on your shoulders. Perhaps you're asking, but do I have this right? Can I really forgive and forgive myself after everything? Yes, my dear, you have this right, because love never demanded perfection. It only asks for truth. And your truth is that you did the best you could with what you knew, with what you felt, with what you carried in your soul. And now, it's time to set yourself free. The spirit that is here knows all of this. They know the nights you cried without understanding why. They know the longing hidden behind forced smiles. They know the strength you had, even when everything in you wanted to stop. And they come now with a clear message. You are light, and no pain will extinguish that. Forgiveness is opening the windows of the soul so that fresh air can enter. It's letting the memory exist without it hurting. It's remembering and smiling with gratitude, even with tears in your eyes. It's saying with a light heart, I loved and I was loved. And this love, even with its flaws and silences, remains alive. Dear soul, the angels show me now a field of light around you. They are clearing painful memories, undoing emotional stains, dissolving old guilts. And all of this is only possible because you decided to listen, decided to feel, decided to believe that the invisible can also be true. The presence visiting you today is grateful, very grateful. It shows me an image, you sitting, looking at the sky with a slight smile, and around you a gentle breeze, as if the whole world were silent just for that moment to happen. It is the image of forgiveness taking place. It is the image of peace, returning. And if at this moment you feel like crying, cry. If you feel longing, embrace that longing. And if a beautiful memory comes, allow yourself to smile, because that is love speaking, and it is saying, I am here, I am at peace, and I want you to be too. In the next sections, you will understand how to transform this spiritual connection into something continuous, stable, and full of meaning. We will talk about the signs that will continue to arrive and how you can build a relationship of affection and guidance with this presence that accompanies you with so much love. Have you ever felt like someone was trying to protect you, even when no one was around? Has it ever happened that you made a difficult decision and suddenly everything seemed to align as if an invisible force was saying, yes, this is the way? Or have you avoided a path, a commitment, a conversation without any apparent reason and later discovered that it saved you from something you weren't prepared to experience? These small synchronicities are much more than luck. They are clear signs of spiritual guidance. And at this very moment, this spirit visiting you is leaving subtle clues to guide you safely. We don't always notice. Sometimes we are too distracted, caught up in worries, trying to solve life with our own hands. But the spiritual world operates differently. It works with subtleties, with repetitions, with symbolism. And when a spirit of light wants to communicate, It finds surprising ways. You may notice that certain objects move, even slightly, that lights flicker without explanation, that electronics freeze or play songs that remind you of someone, that feathers, coins, or repeated numbers appear with unusual frequency, that a familiar scent suddenly surrounds you. None of this is an illusion. They are messages from the invisible. A lady named Teresa told me that every time she felt doubt, a blue butterfly would land near her. It was the same type of butterfly that appeared in her mother's garden when she was a child. The first time, she thought it was a coincidence. But after the third, fourth, fifth time, she understood. It was her mother saying, "You are on the right path." And indeed, she always was. You also have signs like these, but to notice them, you need to slow down. Observe, feel. This spirit accompanying you has already left clues, and it will continue to do so, because there is a mission underway, something you need to fulfill, decide, or change. And this spirit is trying to help you see the best path. And if you ask me, how can I better understand these signs? The answer is be silent. Not the silence of the environment, but of the soul. When you silence doubt, fear, guilt, haste, that is when the spiritual world begins to reveal itself. The presence becomes clearer. The sensation of being guided intensifies. You become more sensitive to what surrounds you. Dear soul, now is the moment for you to start dialoguing with this presence. You don't need fancy words, just sincere ones. Speak aloud if you wish, or think with your heart. Ask, seek help, say what you feel. You will begin to notice that the answers come. Sometimes they come as a dream, other times as an unexpected thought, or as a friend who says something that seems like a direct answer to your silent question. And when you least expect it, a door opens. This spirit wants you to know that you are not being forgotten by the universe. On the contrary, you are being watched with care, guided with tenderness, loved with depth, and not just by it, but by a network of light that forms around you from this contact. Have you ever noticed how, after certain dreams, you wake up different? Or how you have thoughts and ideas in the middle of the night, as if something gently nudges you with a suggestion? These are answers. These are guidances. A woman named Clarice shared with me that for weeks she dreamed of the same scene. Her grandmother rummaging through a wooden box. One day she gathered the courage to look for that box, which had been stored away for years, and inside it were old letters with advice from her grandmother. They were advices that spoke, word for word, about the current problem she was facing. Coincidence? No. Communication. Dear soul, the spirit visiting you is trying to do the same. To remind you of something important, to reconnect you with your essence, to point you towards a lighter path, to protect you from repeating painful choices, to give you the courage to say yes to what you deserve. But that's not all. There's something even deeper happening. You will begin to notice that certain decisions that once seemed impossible will become easier, that the feeling of being alone will start to fade, that the nights will become lighter, because now you not only feel this presence, you trust it, and that changes everything. In the next sections, we will talk about how to strengthen this bond with the spiritual world, how to keep this communication active and alive, because this bond does not end here. It is just beginning. There is still much that this spirit wants to show you, teach you, and give you, including something that will help you transform your external reality. You are ready to see with different eyes. Dear soul, now that you recognize the presence, have felt the gentle touch of the invisible on your chest, have understood that what happens around you is not a result of chance. It's time to look outward. The spirit by your side has a request, not for him, but for the world. He wants you to share, because there are other people around you going through what you've been through, carrying guilt, longing, fears, confusions they can't explain, and perhaps, just perhaps, You are the bridge between these people and the healing they so desperately need. The truth is that this presence is not visiting you just to console, but also to awaken you. You have a precious gift, the gift of listening, of empathy, of welcoming. And now more than ever, the world needs your light. Your story, your pain, and your healing are not small details. They are seeds that, when shared, can blossom in the lives of others. Do you know that dear person who has been more silent lately? That friend who avoids talking about the past? That sister, cousin, or even neighbor who lost someone and was never the same? Perhaps what they lack is what you have already received, the certainty that the presence continues to live even after the farewell. And you can be the voice that soothes. You can be the hand that touches with tenderness. You can be the heart that embraces without judgment. That's why now, with affection, I make a request that comes directly from this energy of light. Share this video with two dear people who need this message of hope and faith. Let's together build a chain of love and mutual support. And leave a comment with a prayer for your guardian angel. It can be simple, but let it come from your heart, because the angels are reading and responding. Now back to the message. You might be wondering, but why me? Why just me? Because you were chosen, my dear. Chosen not for being perfect, but for being true. Because within you lies a strength that has survived many storms, and now you are ready to be a safe harbor for other souls. The spiritual presence that accompanies you sees you as an extension of his mission. While he was here in this plane, perhaps he also comforted, advised, cared. And now he asks you, continue what I started. Be light where there is shadow. Be the embrace where there is silence. Be the presence where there is emptiness. This doesn't mean you have to save the world, but rather that you can start close by, with gestures, with words, with small acts of compassion, and above all, with listening, the kind that comes from the soul. A young woman named Anna shared with me that after losing her brother, she felt called to help others in mourning. At first it was just by listening, then by writing simple, supportive texts, later by creating gatherings of welcome. What started as pain turned into a bridge, and what was longing turned into a legacy. You too can leave a legacy. And this, Spirit wants you to know, you've already begun. Just by being here, reading, feeling, reflecting, you are generating healing energy. You are doing what many avoid, looking at the invisible with courage. And do you know what happens when you start to embrace the call of the spiritual world? Your external life begins to transform. You start to attract lighter encounters. You begin to see solutions where you once saw problems. And most importantly, you start to feel truly useful. This is what this presence wants for you, a life with purpose, with meaning, with peace. In the next sections, we will delve even deeper into this spiritual communication. You will learn how to keep this bond active, how to strengthen the presence of this spirit in your days, how to ask for advice in difficult times, and how to identify when it is responding. Yes, dear, it responds. And often with more clarity than you imagine, dear soul. Many believe that speaking with those who have passed is strange or even dangerous. But the angels say otherwise. When the connection is made with love, with light, and with a pure heart, it transforms into one of the most beautiful forms of continuity. Yes, you can talk to this presence. And more than that, you can receive answers. Perhaps you're wondering, but how does this work? The answer lies in simplicity. This spirit doesn't need complicated rituals to come closer. It needs your sincere attention. Choose a moment in your day. It could be in the morning before you start your activities, or at night when the silence helps the heart to listen better. Close your eyes, breathe slowly, and think of him or her, not as a ghost, but as an old friend who remains nearby. Speak naturally, as if you're sharing something from your day. Tell them what worries you, what brings you joy, what still hurts. And then Listen. You can listen with your body, feel a shiver, a slight pressure in your chest, a warmth that comes from nowhere. You can listen with your thoughts, a phrase that comes out of nowhere, a quick answer in your mind, or listen with your eyes. Through a sign, a word in a book, a repeated number, yes, the signs continue, but now you are ready to understand them. This spirit is not here to haunt you, but to accompany you. It wants to be part of your life, even in another way. And the more you open yourself to this possibility, the clearer this communication will be. A woman named Joanna once told me that after losing her husband, she started writing letters to him every night. Simple letters, letters full of longing, but also of life. And that, after writing, she felt a peace so deep that she slept like she hadn't in years. Over time, she realized that these letters became advice. By rereading what she herself had written, she saw solutions, perceived answers. She understood. He responded through her. You can do this too. Speak, write, think with love. The connection is open, and it is yours. But beware, not every silence will be an answer. Not every dream will have a message. Sometimes this spirit also needs your rest, your respect, your space. So when the answer doesn't come, trust. Trust that even in silence it is nearby, and that is enough. Another way to maintain this communication is to create small altars of memory. It doesn't have to be religious. It can be a small box with symbolic objects, a lit candle with intention, an old photograph with a flower beside it. It's the gesture that matters. This spirit will notice your dedication, and it will draw closer with even more love. But that's not all. There's something even deeper happening. This bond you're strengthening isn't just with the spirit visiting you, it's with your spiritual essence, with the part of you that has always known there's something beyond, something greater, something that loves unconditionally. And now that you understand this, your life will change, not overnight, but from within. You'll start to notice that certain people will drift away, others will draw near. Situations that once bothered you will lose their importance. You'll prefer silence over argument, calm over noise, the essential over the excessive. This is spiritual transformation. It's when the soul, touched by a love from the invisible, begins to live with purpose. In the next sections, we'll reveal the true purpose of this presence in your life. You'll discover why it has returned now and what still needs to be resolved between you, or perhaps what needs to be begun anew, because, yes, love never fades. It merely changes place. Dear soul, you've been feeling an intense spiritual movement, haven't you? As if time were different, as if your sensitivity had heightened, as if your intuition were screaming truths you don't yet fully understand. This is happening because this spirit has returned now for a very special reason. It's time for you to remember who you are. For a long time, you've lived by adapting to the world's demands, to the pains you couldn't change, to the silences you swallowed to avoid hurting anyone. But now, this spiritual presence is calling you back to your center, to what makes you alive, and it has returned to help you remember. Yes, there's a spiritual reason behind this reunion, and this reason has nothing to do with fright, fear, or suffering. It has to do with deep healing, reconnection, and liberation. This spirit has accompanied you in silence for a long time. It waited for the right moment to draw near. And now that your soul is awake, it has come to fulfill a mission, to remind you that you still have something to live that only you can live. And for that, you need to heal. You need to believe in yourself again, and stop carrying burdens that were never yours. Perhaps it has come to protect you from something, or perhaps to prepare you for something. Yes, something important is coming, a choice, a new cycle, a fresh start that will be decisive. And this presence is strengthening you now, because you need to be whole to receive it. Often, a spirit that deeply loved us in life returns when we're on the verge of a great change. It could be a new love, a new job, a shift in consciousness, or an emotional liberation that, if it doesn't happen now, will imprison you for years. And it knows this. That's why it touches you. That's why it repeats the signs. That's why it insists with so much love. Wake up. You deserve to live lightly. Dear soul, understand this clearly. You're not being haunted by a memory. You're being awakened by a purpose, and this spirit is part of it. It doesn't want you to live just to survive. It wants you to feel joy again, to allow yourself to make mistakes without punishment, to trust what you feel, even when others don't understand. You're being spiritually trained, and it is your invisible trainer. With every intuition you follow, you'll be closer to your truth. With every memory you heal, you'll clear spaces within you that have been suffocated for years. And more, you have a mission to fulfill on this earth. Perhaps it's to help someone, write something, create something, or simply love in a way no one else knows how to love. And it has come to remind you of this. But that's not all. There's something even deeper happening. You're being reconnected with your spiritual origin. This spirit has most likely been with you in other lives. You've loved each other before, you've said goodbye before, you've found each other again before, and now, here, at this moment in your life, you meet once more, to close a cycle, or to begin a new one. And this decision isn't just his, it's yours. From now on, you can choose to end this contact with gratitude and continue on your path in peace, or to keep this presence as a guide, an ally, an invisible counselor. Both decisions are correct, both have light, and the spirit that accompanies you will accept your choice with love. But know this, if you choose to keep him close, he will accompany you in your next important decisions. He will be with you on the days when fear tries to paralyze you. He will be with you on the nights when longing tries to confuse you. And he will tell you in silence, you are not alone. You never have been. In the next sections, we will close this message with wisdom and light. You will understand what you can do now to honor this presence and how to transform this connection into daily strength to live with purpose, protection, and lightness. You're almost there. Dear soul, everything that has been said up to this point was not just to move you, it was to prepare you. Because from this moment on you are no longer the same. You now know that the silence that surrounded you at night was, in fact, an invisible hug. That the unexplained shiver was a presence trying to protect you. That the sudden longing was a sign that someone continues to love you from the other side. But what to do with all this now? You live in a world that doesn't always value the invisible. A world that demands practicality, quick answers, constant efficiency. And that's why the angels ask you for something very important. Don't forget what you felt here, because this spirit has shown you throughout all these sections that there is something greater happening, and that you are a part of it. You are more than your pains, more than your doubts, more than your regrets. You are a guided soul, protected and deeply loved. This presence that accompanies you now wants you to trust in life again, even when everything seems confusing, even when others don't understand your sensitivity, even when you doubt yourself. Trust. Trust what you feel when you are in silence. Trust the signs. Trust the tears that spring up without warning. They are not weakness. They are a response. This spirit will continue with you as long as necessary. He doesn't judge you. He doesn't demand from you. He doesn't want to scare you. He just wants to remind you who you truly are. And whenever the pain returns, whenever fear tries to take over, repeat these words softly with faith. I am not alone. I am light. I am love. And I am guided. These words are a seal, a password between you and the invisible. They open doors that only love knows. You can choose, from today, to create a sacred space just for you, a little corner of the soul where you keep all that you have learned here. It doesn't have to be an altar, nor a temple. It can be a diary, a prayer, a flower left on the windowsill, a note written with the name of who left and has now returned, out of love. And so that this connection continues to grow and strengthen, here is the angel's final guidance in this message. If this message resonated with you and your situation, write in the comments, "I accept to live guided by the presence of invisible love." Share your experiences in the comments. If you like this video, like and subscribe to the channel for more inspiring content. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. And please, my dear, never again doubt how much you are loved.